Getting into colleges today is more competitive than ever. So what can make your college application stand out against all others? We're joined now by MRM Education College Admissions Specialist Matt McGee to learn more. Matt, thanks so much for being here at Live in the Bay.
Thank you for having me, Jessica.
Yes. Okay. Getting into college was a long time ago for me now at this point, but I do remember that it was so stressful, and just thinking about the admissions and the essays and all the things. I'm happy that you're here to chat with us about it all. So what would you say makes MRM Education stand out? Because a lot of people are using college consultant, people these days. So what sets you guys apart?
Yeah, so yes, you're definitely right. College consultants are everywhere nowadays. A lot of college counselors, I think they really take you through the basics as far as what you were talking about, the personal statement, getting your deadlines, making sure that you're hitting everything on time. But we like to dive in a lot more comprehensively, and we like to really kind of make sure that we're setting up the student with a mentor, setting up a student profile so that we can get involved with their extracurriculars, get involved with their volunteering, really all aimed at trying to make their application stand out.
For you guys really focus on, your students getting into their top schools, and 97% of your clients get into at least one of their top 3 schools. How are you guys able to achieve that?
Well, like I said, we really like to focus on the student. We really like to focus on what gets them excited. What are they passionate about? What do they really care about? I was speaking at a conference the other day, and I asked the question. There's about 1,000 students and parents there, and I said, raise your hand, those of you who play a musical instrument of some sort. And every hand in the room went up. I then said, all right, so now who actually likes playing this instrument and who thinks that they're going to get into college because they play this instrument? About 90% of the hands went down. And this, I think, is one of the major problems with college admissions, is that people are trying to tell the college admissions officers what they want to hear. They're trying to tell the colleges what they want to hear, rather than being the most authentic, the best version of themselves. When you think about how many high schools we have in the U.S., there's something like 25,000 high schools. That's 25,000 valedictorians, most of whom are not going to be able to get into an Ivy League school.
Wow.
Why? Because they're not standing out. Their grades are great, their test scores are great, but they're not doing what they need on the applications to really pop. Okay,
so we got to dive into this then. So how do they stand out on their applications?
It's a great question. It's the magic that everybody's looking for. Get interested, get involved, find out what you're passionate about, and dive deep into that. And don't sell yourself short. I have a lot of parents who come to me and they say, well, my kid's only interested in video games. Like, how am I supposed to pitch that for colleges? But really, any interest, there's a way to pitch that for colleges through work ethic and ambition. We had a student once who she came to us. She's now in business, but she really loved fashion. So we said, why don't you set up a YouTube channel? And so she started a YouTube channel when she was a freshman and had, friends and family following her. But soon she became the go-to person at her high school. So it had a couple hundred followers, and everybody was coming to her for fashion advice. Then she put on a fashion show, and she invited the local paper, and that got coverage, and it really blew her up across the region. And so by the time she was doing her college applications, her YouTube channel had over 100,000 followers.
Wow.
So she was able to sell this to universities as not just like a fashion interest, but look at my work ethic. Look at me showing up day in, day out. Look at my business acumen. I had to coordinate with schools and newspapers. I had to engage with the community. And that's the stuff that schools really like to see.
So for the 90% of the room that raised their hand saying they play the instrument, how do they turn that into something that's interesting and standing out, for the colleges on their admissions?
So for sure, that's kind of where we come in, because like I was saying at the beginning, where most college counselors will just sort of say, hey, let's find the schools that are right for you. We want to set you up with a mentor, someone who essentially becomes part of your family, right? And you have unlimited access to them, and they help you figure out your extracurriculars. They help you figure out what volunteer opportunities, what you should be doing during the summer. And this person, when they're working with a young person who's in 7th or 8th or 9th grade, they're usually young people who we hire who are just out of school, and so they can empathize with what they're going through. They can connect with them, and it's somebody different than their parents or their teachers telling them that they need to get interested in something.
Absolutely. Okay, I have to ask, what's the biggest mistake that you see students make when they're applying to college?
That's a great question. I would say one of 2 things. Not enough specificity and not enough bringing your personality. A lot of students, especially high-achieving students, want to say, these are all the things that I did. Look, I did this volunteer and I did this research. But really what colleges want to see is who you are. What makes you laugh? What makes you interesting? What's going to make you a vibrant part of their campus? That's really what they're looking for. And additionally, specificity in terms of why do you want to go to the school you want to go to. I've had multiple students come to me and say, I want to go to Stanford for business. And I have to tell them Stanford doesn't have an undergraduate business program. So you got to get specific about why you want to go to a school. Why Stanford? Just because it's Stanford, or is there something about it? And when they ask you the question, why us, you should do your research. Figure out the classes, the professors, the programs, and bring them back to how they align with your values as a person.
Matt, this is all such helpful information. Thank you so much for sharing. If somebody wants to reach out to MRM Education and get connected with you guys, how can they do that?
Yeah, for sure. They can reach us at www.mrmeducation, or they can find us on Instagram at MRM Education.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.